It's another Micro Action Monday on Studio Class. Today I'm thinking about visibility building, and if you've been paying attention to the podcast or you've seen my coaching framework on a whole bunch of places, come on over to sybaricstudios.com if you'd like to see a little bit more about that. I've got a fancy website over there for you to check out. You may not have seen it before. So when we're thinking about the framework, you may know that offers, clients, systems is a big part of my multi-part framework. This micro action for today is about kind of stitching together those things. So really, your micro action for today is about choosing one visibility task. That's it. We're doing micro actions are about a 5-minute thing, right? We can do this in a short amount of time to feel like we've got that momentum in our careers. So what I'd like for you to do as part of your micro action is pick one offer, right? This could be an upcoming performance. This could be a coaching session. This could be a private studio for lessons. This could be writing program notes. This could be doing arrangements. This could be all sorts of things. Honestly, if you haven't thought about your offers, I'm going to drop a whole bunch of past episodes and other blog posts, things like that, into not only the show notes, but through my socials this week so that you can maybe get up to speed on communicating your offers. But we're really just talking about revenue generating activities. What are revenue generating activities? They are activities that generate revenue. It says it in the name. Revenue generating activities is about getting really clear on what is the thing that makes you money in your music business, right? Again, my caveat is none of your music activities have to make you money. I'm never saying that. That's never the context for what I do in coaching or what I do on this podcast. You are always in charge of that if you want it to generate revenue for you or not, right? But I know that you do because you're listening to this. Otherwise, you'd probably be somewhere else, right? And so when you want to be making profit or revenue or income from your art making activities, this is what I want you to be thinking about. What do I do that generates income or revenue, right? So we've talked about that with your offers. I want you to pick one offer. So this is picking one revenue generating activity, something that you are already doing, that you already have in your suite of things that you can make money from this week, right? One existing offer. And then I want you to think about, okay, who is the ideal client, buyer, audience, commissioner, collaborator, student? Fill in the blank with the role here. It's okay if client is not the right fit for you. That's totally fine. But ideal client exercise here is what would really help if you haven't done it yet. I've also got episodes and blog posts on that that I'll share. But the idea here is about picking your one offer, your revenue generating activity, thinking about who is this for? Who buys this? Who spends money on this? Who is the person that writes the check for this? Who is the person that swipes the card for this, right? Who pays you for this thing? And through doing something like ideal client exercise, you get really, really clear on both the demographics and psychographics of the people that are the most likely to purchase this offer from you. So you're getting very clear on who you think that might be and trying to brainstorm. Use your creative brain here to kind of come up with, imagine. It doesn't have to be someone you already know. You can kind of take bits and pieces from people that exist already in your orbit, right? Oh, okay, this person is someone I've worked with in the past, so they're kind of like a good template for who might be an ideal commissioner. Or this might be the person who's an ideal presenter, right? So as you're thinking about that, you're using templates from people you do know in your orbit, in your ecosystem, and you're building on top of that. So let your imagination have some sort of structure to start working with, and then build on top of that. Who is the person, or describe the avatar of the person who would buy exactly this because it's exactly what they're looking for, right? So that's the part about identifying the client. So we've got identify your one offer that you're thinking about right now. You probably have 10 million, because what artist doesn't? And like, so you're just picking one though, one revenue generating activity, one ideal client exercise to help you kind of think about who is this for? And then the micro action for today, which is pick your one visibility task. You've gotten very clear on what the offer is, who the ideal client or buyer would be for this. Now, I want you to think about, where would they find out about this information? What are they the most likely to go to? Like, what resources are they the most likely to check? Where are the platforms, or what platforms would they go to find out more about this? Where would they run into information about what you do? And then how can you show up there with information about exactly what you do for your ideal client, and make it easy for them to take the next step with you? So I want you to pick one visibility task to go along with this.
Hey there, divas. Real quick thing before we get back to the rest of this episode. Do you love studio class? You can support it now by joining the Sybaritic Camerata on Patreon. It's just at patreon.com/mezzo-Ihnen, mezzoihnen. For $10 a month, you can join the listening circle, where you get access to bonus episodes, you can make listener requests, and for $20 a month, you can become a Masterclass Scholar. Do you ever wish you could ask our Masterclass episode guests a question? Here's your chance. As a Masterclass Scholar, you're invited to the recording of the Masterclass episodes, and you get to ask your questions during an exclusive Q&A after the taping. So come on over, check it out, patreon.com/mezzo-Ihnen. And now we're back to the episode.
So this might look like you have an upcoming performance and you want to help sell tickets for it, right? So that's the revenue generating activity. Is you have an upcoming performance, there are tickets being sold. You're thinking about, who is the person that's the most likely to buy a ticket for this? What are they going to experience? What kind of outing do they want to have, right? What is their budget? Where do they live? Are they, do they want to come to the show at this specific time? Do they want to know about parking? Whatever it is, like, what is the thing that's going to help you understand, like, who is the person who buys this, who buys a ticket to this show? And then I want you to think about, where is that person the most likely to engage with information about buying this ticket and then take action on it? And that might look like a lot of different things, right? So that could look like, obviously we know about posting on social media. And I think that this is where a lot of people get stuck, is that they think that maybe that's the only option. You can only just post about it. And then you only post about it like twice. So don't forget our marketing rule of sevens here, which is like, people typically need at least 7 points of contact with the same information before they're ready to make a purchase. But hey, whatever. So I want you to keep that in mind, is that yes, we can post. You can do a post to social media to let people know that they could buy tickets to this. What are some other direct ways that you could encourage them to take the action that you want them to take? So that might look like sending an email. That might look like texting them. That might look like a paid ad strategy. That might look like posters, flyers, business cards. That might look like being on a podcast. That might look like going on television. That might look like having a radio spot. That might look like putting up a billboard. There are lots of things, and they all fluctuate to various budget levels. And I want you to think about making the most direct ask that you can, right? Whatever you feel comfortable with. When you have an offer, you know what it is. You are very clear on like who you think the client would be for this. I want you to pick one visibility task and try and make it as direct as you can. So text the person that you think would be a good fit and ask them, hey, will you please buy a ticket and come to my upcoming show? It would really mean a lot to me. And then do that for all of the people that you can think of that would be a good buyer for that upcoming performance, right? And then I want you to just keep that in mind, because people are the most likely to act on the most direct asks, right? The thing that comes the closest and the most personalized to them. And then they're less likely to take action on things that feel more vague or less relevant or just kind of an open call, right? And that's just generally like human behavior in a lot of ways. So you can think about that strategically and build that into what you're working on. So if you can make your direct asks as frequently as possible and then rely on less direct or indirect asks as you're trying to fill out your promotional strategy, that's great, right? As you're trying to fill out your visibility building. That's really what we're talking about in this episode, is just picking a visibility building task, right? So divas, that is the entirety of this micro action, because I'm trying to keep it as streamlined as possible. So it's just pick your one offer, do your ideal client in your mind. Who is that? Who am I trying to reach? Where do they find out about things, right? And then how am I making the most direct ask possible for that sale, right? For that thing to go through, for that conversion, if you will, right? For my buyer to take action on the thing that I most want them to do. And that's it. So we're keeping this short and sweet. Divas, I want you to get out there, do some visibility building this week, thinking about what your offer, who's the client, and what is the most direct ask that you can make this week. Just one. Just do it. See if you can put that in front of them. This is not, I really need us to stop conflating self-promotion with like the ick, because self-promotion is not this gross thing. It's about being generous. It's about meeting people and not making them come hunt and find for every single piece of information about what you're doing. You're actually just offering people the chance to come experience your art or work with you or whatever it is, right? You're meeting them. You're saying, I'm not going to make you hunt through 7 layers of information to find the button for this. I'm going to bring it right to you. And they still have the opportunity to say no. They get to choose. You're not telling them what they have to do, right? But you've made it so much easier for them to know about what it is that you have, when it's happening, and how to take the next step with you. So release yourself from whatever negative voice in your head is telling you that you can't do this kind of thing, because it's simply not true. You can really reframe this as an act of generosity by making it easier for the person to engage with your work. That's really what it is. Let them engage with you and what you're doing by making it super, super easy. So, divas, that is your task. Identify your offer, identify the buyer, and then pick one visibility building task and do that this week. And with that, all right, stay sparkly inside and out, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining me for Micro Action Monday. Again, I'm Megan Ihnen, and you can find me on all the socials at mezzo-Ihnen. That's IHNEN. Did you know that studio class is part of the Sybaritic Singer? It is. And if you liked this episode, you're going to love my 29 Days to Diva series. That's on SybaricSinger.com. And if you liked this episode, will you please consider leaving us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcast? Thanks. It means a lot to me.